Office of the Public Protector says it intends to be part of investigations of food poisoning cases that have been reported around the country. On Friday, President Cyril Ramaphosa announced all Spaza shops should register within 21 days. This follows the death of 22 children due to suspected food poisoning. The Office of the Public Protector says it has a mandate to ensure that various departments do their work efficiently to get to the bottom of this issue. For more on this, we are now joined by the Public Protector's spokesperson, Khulu Phasiwe. Khulu, very good morning to you. Thank you so much for making time for us. So explain to us what the involvement of the Public Protector would be, and also some of the letters that you've written to the various municipalities as well as government departments.
Thank you so much, Aldrin. So because our mandate as a public protector is limited to only sort of ensuring that we hold accountable all these government entities. So we don't have the mandate or to go and investigate these particular issues that we are talking about of food contamination. So what we will be doing is to actually go with this particular government departments to the various sites where they will be doing their own inspections to see to it that they do what their standard operating procedures are saying they should be doing. For example, you will have the Department of Health, for example, which ordinarily would ensure that these facilities are clean and people adhere to this hygienic regime that has been implemented. So if there are any issues that are not being followed up, we are not going to follow up with the shop owners ourselves, because that's not our mandate. We will follow up with the department to see to it that they do what they are supposed to be doing.
Yeah, when it comes to, so now on Friday, the president, of course, has made this call that all Spaza shops as well as food outlets must register or re-register. We know that when it comes to the municipal bylaws, there's already an expectation and law in place that Spaza shops must be registered and must have a certificate to show that they can actually operate that particular business. Would the Public Protector's Office also look into whether there has been compliance on the part of the municipality to ensure that Spaza shops are actually registered, to find out whether there have been any lapses or not?
Very true, Aldrin. We have already written letters to, especially here in the broader Gauteng area, the big metros here, Johannesburg, Ekurhuleni and Tshwane. Their municipalities do have a subsection or the division which is licensing the small businesses. So we're going to be following up on those units to make sure that they do the regular inspections that they are supposed to be doing, and obviously making sure that people who are licensed to be operating the spazas are doing what they are supposed to be, or at least they are licensed to be doing. Some of them are licensed, for example, to sell specific food items or only specific items. But now all of a sudden, just like you saw in the previous clip that you showed now, all of a sudden now you also have people who are selling meat when these facilities that they have is not registered as a butchery, for example.
Yeah, which is an important one. And the other thing about this as well, and I don't know how far your investigation would extend, because there is a major problem around the budget constraints, for instance, that has impacted various departments. And I remember a conversation that I had many years ago with the previous Minister of Labour, Mildred Oliphant. And one of the points that she stressed during that interview was that, unfortunately, we don't have enough inspectors to go and do these inspections because we don't have the budget to employ some of the inspectors that are required. So in that particular case, how far does your mandate stretch to look into the allocation of financial budget that is given to municipalities or departments to ensure that they are able to carry out their duties?
Eldrin, on this one, we're going to cross that bridge when we get there. From our end, we will be following up to see as to what is it that municipalities and departments within South Africa generally are doing. This is both provincial and national departments and municipalities. What is it that they are doing? And if there are any gaps, from our end, we will note those. And when we issue the report, those gaps will be included in the report, which will be for the government to make sure that those particular gaps are closed and rectified going forward.
Yeah, and just to confirm this, Khulu, this is an own initiative by the Public Protector. There wasn't necessarily a complaint.
Very true, Eldrin. So what we do sometimes, we follow up on some of the media reports that we are seeing, and based on what is going on, then it takes our own initiatives to make sure that we do this kind of investigation. This one, Eldrin, yes, is going to be what we call a systemic investigation. In other words, we are not only focusing here in Gauteng, but we have had reports about kids or school children also having issues in the Free State, for example, in Bloemfontein. And I remember there was a report about Welcome as well, and in Mpumalanga and other places. So we're going to be going to all these provinces where there have been problems and do this kind of visits together with those particular departments to understand as to what is going on. And then we will put up a report at a later stage.
Yeah, and you don't have a deadline that you're setting yourself to make sure that that report is available within, I don't know how many days, or even an interim report for that matter?
At this stage, no. However, it's also going to be affected by the fact that most businesses and government departments, especially this coming month in December, Eldrin, many of them will be sort of scaling down and shutting business until early next year. So our operations, including their own investigations, will probably be affected because of those dynamics. But from our end, we will do what we can. And we're not going to be working with the pace in which they are working on, because the departments are doing their own investigations. From our end, we are going much deeper than potentially what they are doing, because we want to understand as to what the root cause of this particular food contamination is. So our report might take a little longer because we want to deep dive into the root causes of this problem.
Yeah, and the reason that I asked that question also about this being a self-initiated investigation is also on the basis of this inaugural conference that you'll be having today with the Department of Public Service and Administration, as well as the European Union, looking at the role of oversight organizations like yourself.
Very true, Eldrin. Yes, we're having this conference where essentially the aim will be to make sure that oversight bodies like ourselves and the Department of Public Service, for example, are doing what they are supposed to be doing. And all the ombuds, many municipalities also have these ombuds departments within their ambit. So some of these things, if many of the departments and some of the municipalities are doing what they are supposed to be doing, and we are not casting any aspersions on this thing, Eldrin, but all we are saying is if some of these things that are happening were being monitored as regularly as possible, there's a probability that we wouldn't be here. Because if someone is sleeping in a shop, for example, and someone from the departments within municipalities were doing their regular site visits, chances are they would have seen this and sort of made sure that this particular practice does not continue, and before it becomes some of the problems that we are seeing now. Even the health and safety within the shops, ordinarily, in terms of their conditions, you need to have sufficient air circulation within a shop. And also, some of the food packages need to be put in a particular manner. We have seen in some of the reports recently that sometimes you have foodstuffs like bread, for example, next to them, you have things like detergents and things like that. So if people were doing their routine inspections, some of these things could have been spotted, and make sure that the shop owners comply with the regulations.
Appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Khulu Phasiwe is the spokesperson for the Public Protector's Office. and they're going to be having that inaugural conference that is going to be taking place today, but also the importance around oversight bodies and the point that he stresses there towards the end, that could some of these deaths have been prevented if we had regular oversight over some of these businesses, including tuck shops as well as outlets that are manufacturing food.